Don't be dismayed if your garden was covered by snow this morning. Old-timers called these spring snowstorms poor man's fertilizer. Some of them even plowed it into the soil. There is some truth to this. As the snow falls, it picks up nitrogen from the atmosphere and brings it to the soil. Come inside. Today we are going to talk about starting seeds indoors. Light is the most important thing when you're starting seeds indoors. If you don't have a sunroom, greenhouse, or cold frame, use a shop light. You can use a shop light to grow your seedlings under. Leave it on for 16 hours a day and keep the plants within 4 inches of the tubes. So when you're starting seeds indoors, we like to use these kind of flats. We call them a community flat. You just fill it, already has holes in the bottom. You fill it with soil, and the soil we like to use is from the Ideal Compost Company in Peterborough. They make a wonderful potting soil that's compost based. You can use these little recycled trays are great. If you don't have a container like this, you can always use the boxes that mushrooms came in. You can start your seeds in peat pots if you want, because these are nice. You can pot them up into a bigger pot if they need it without disturbing the roots. You can use these kind of containers for a pot. Just make sure, if you're using any recycled thing, that you have poked holes in the bottom for drainage, because otherwise you'll end up with seed soup instead of a nice starting bed. So with something like this, we're going to make little furrows in it. And in each furrow you can plant something different. Make sure that you label what you're planting, because you'll never remember. I'll never remember. And make sure to read your seed packet, because it will tell you how deeply to bury your seeds. Like the tomatoes need to be 1/4 of an inch deep. It's also good if you are planting more than one thing together in a pot, a community pot, that they take the same amount of time to germinate and need the same conditions of heat or cold. The seeds generally like to be warm, so once you've planted them, covered them, they need to be watered. You can use just a spray bottle so that you can water them gently without dislodging the seeds. These kind of bottles are great because they direct the water right where you need it. Then put it in a bag. And put it in a warm place. We used to say on top of the TV. You can't do that anymore. If you have containers like these are awesome for starting seeds in. You could, after you've poked holes in the bottom, you could start probably 6 or 8 different kinds of seeds in this. Just again, make sure that they all are going to germinate at the same time. Or you could, once you've planted things in your smaller containers, you can put them in that, and it makes like a little mini greenhouse. You wouldn't have to bother with the plastic. So most seeds need warmth to germinate, but once those seeds have popped up, then you want them to be cool. They need to grow in a cool place so that they will grow to be sturdy and strong. You don't want any spindly little plants. These two will show you, this is the exact same plant, just started at different times. So you can get a head start. Right now, if you start your tomatoes indoors, you could start some brassicas, things like kale, broccoli, cabbages. You could start those indoors. They pop up practically overnight. Seed starting is easy. It's not brain surgery. Nobody's going to die if you don't do this right. You just might have to try again. Just make sure to read your seed packets. Some give you more information than others. Or look online if you need more information about the kind of plant that you're growing. But it's worth your while to start some things indoors.